All righty. So we have had a little bit of technical difficulties this evening, but thank you very much for hanging in there. For everybody who's watching, we do appreciate it. This is our first Coastal Magic Convention 2025 CMC chat. This is, I know, right? If things are going to go wrong, it's going to happen on the first go round. So we've hit a couple of snags, but we have made it work. Thank you very much to DeLorean, who has rescued all of us. So we are doing some get to know you bingo questions this evening. If you are watching and you would like to play bingo, you can ask in the chat below this. The video where this is being posted, in the comments below, you can ask for a bingo card and DeLorean will get you one. It is a website that has electronic cards, so everybody can play. You just click on the link that she's going to send you, and you can just tap your screen, and it will hit all of the spaces as they're being called. I'm going to call the bingo for everyone this evening. The fun thing about the way we do bingo when we do these is that instead of numbers, we have words that represent something to one of our featured authors. So it's either going to be something fun about themselves or about their books. So while DeLorean is checking for anyone who may want to have a bingo card, all you have to do is just ask in the comments and she'll send you one. While everybody's getting their bingo cards, we're going to just have our authors introduce themselves real quick. In case maybe you are not familiar with them. So let's start with Marion, and we'll go to Tanya and then finish up with Kevin. In case you have been watching though, you will notice that we are missing an author. We had an author have a family situation she's got to deal with. So we're missing Elle Keaton tonight, but I'm sure we will catch up with her another time. And hopefully everything works out good for her. Marion, you want to get us started?
All right. Hi, I'm M.A. Grant, go by Marion, and I write romance.
Fantastic. Tanya?
I am Tanya Kappas. I write Southern Hospitality with a smidgen of homicide. I write cozy mysteries. Just a smidgen.
Just a smidgen.
Kevin A. Davis. I write contemporary fantasy, so magic in modern times. A lot of cryptid.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. All righty. So I know that there's a tiny bit of a delay. Pardon me, my eyeball. There's a tiny bit of a delay, so I'm going to give everybody just like maybe one more minute to get their cards, in case you were asking for cards, and then we'll get started. I know because of that delay, sometimes if you have a bingo, I may not necessarily see it right away, so try to be patient with me. I've got the screen pulled up, so I will be able to see your comment. But I may not see it as soon as you type it, just because of the delay between the Zoom and the bingo. So hopefully people won't. I see a lot of people saying hi, a lot of people saying woohoo. So hopefully I'm going to change this to all comments instead of just most relevant. There we go. All right, so I should be able to see when somebody has a bingo. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started right now. So let me pull up our first bingo card. So you should have, it says CMCChat Get to Know You Bingo, and it should not say number 2. It should be the blue one. And I'm going to start this with call game. So I'm going to start game. And the first word is suspenseful. So who had suspenseful as their word? Watch that be one of Elle's words. Hold on. It was one of Elle's words. So who else has suspense in their books that wants to talk about it? Tanya?
So yeah, so with cozy mystery or any mystery, you have to make a suspenseful scene to bring the reader along like they're there and kind of give them a little bit of chills and thrills. And you'll get those in the mysteries.
Nice. Okay, so suspenseful, just if you are playing along and you've got your bingo card, tap suspenseful, and that's going to get you going. All right, so next word is convention. That's one that I put in there. So I would like to know briefly if any of you have been to other conventions, and if you have, like, what conventions do you typically go to? And what's your favorite thing about conventions? Anybody?
I do a ton
Kevin?
I do a ton of conventions. I was just at LibertyCon My favorite is one of my favorite like fandom kind of cons is Multiverse.
Fun.
It's an inclusive, diverse group. They're very focused on diversity. I just literally got an email from Jennifer Lang for panelist options for upcoming DragonCon. Yay! So
Yay.
literally at the same time yours came in, hers is there. I'm like, I can do hers later, even though I want
There
to
you go.
love.
DragonCon is my happy place. Anybody else? Tanya, I know you've been with us before. What other events do you like to go to?
So I do like local reader cons here. There's one in
Mm-hmm.
Louisville that we have Readers on the River. We also do the Reader and Author Get Together here in Cincinnati, as well as the Kentucky Book Festival. I do those, and so I've done Malice Domestic, which is mainly for mystery, and then I have my own small conference every year for my readers, where we rent a train somewhere different in the United States called Two Dames on a Mystery Train, and it's a dinner mystery theater. And I know that a couple of people in the comments have been and have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to see that they're here and they're coming to your con next year because I talk about it because I love it. And I think I told you that next year and the years coming up, I'm hoping to just continue to do Coastal Magic every year and my conference every year. So.
Well, I am very happy that you are keeping with us because otherwise we would all of us, the entire state of Florida and anywhere else would all have to converge on you at your local event.
Well, come
And I
on.
don't know, I don't know if that's necessarily the best idea. I'm just saying. Marion, how about you? Have you done a lot of events?
No, I have not. I've done some writers conferences, but this is the first readers conference I've ever done. So I'm really excited to go and to meet everybody.
You're gonna love it.
I'm so excited.
Yay! Okay, so let's go to next word is funny.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. What's funny about you, Tanya?
Well, it's just about my genre. Like I write Southern mysteries, so
Mhm.
they're funny. They're set in the South. We have all those sayings like "bless your heart" or "he's slicker than cat's guts." We got all the funny things that make you laugh while killing people, and that can be funny.
It can, absolutely. Okay, next word, revenant.
All right, that's definitely mine because it's
Mhm.
very cryptid based. That is actually one of the first appearances that a friend of mine, Heather Norris, dies in the first book of the DRC files. She wanted that bloody death, and it is by a revenant. So I do like the spooky little cryptids. That's mine.
Spooky little cryptids. And for anyone who may not know, I think most coastal magic people know, but just in case for someone who may not know, what is a cryptid?
And in my opinion, basically anything that we're not um, able to define as clearly human, but I just use it in any way that works for me. In the world building that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely get in some interesting conversations with this at bars. It can only be animals, and I'm like, well, a werewolf can run on four paws. They're like, that's not the same. So yes, we have fun discussions about what is a cryptid. Basically, anything
Maybe
goes.
we'll have to do that at Coastal Magic. We'll have a cryptid panel.
And a cryptid argument.
There, well, or something. All right, next word is hobby. That was another one of mine. So do y'all have any hobbies that you'd like to share? Anybody?
Um, I can go. I love cooking. It's one of my favorite things to do. So love baking, especially. Cooking, I'm okay at. The baking is where my heart's at.
Nice. Anybody else?
We go camping. It's kind of a hobby for us. We go
Mhm.
camping once a month. It's not really camping. We have an RV. But it's my kind of camping and I love it. So
Yeah,
that's kind
there
of
you
our
go.
hobby. We try to go around to all the national parks or the state parks because we find those to be what we like best instead of all the big
Nice.
yeah.
Cool. Kevin, do you have any hobbies?
A ton, but my probably most consuming is reading.
Gotcha.
We actually own a bookstore because we just love books that much. So, and it's haunted, by the way. We've had a paranormal investigator by to actually confirm this. Her name's Amanda, and she
Mm-hmm. You gave us information about that in the newsletter for your newsletter spotlight. So that was very interesting.
It was so much fun. And my wife is going this weekend to another with the investigator to go look at another property in Madison that is supposedly haunted. So
Very cool. All right, next word, mythology. Let's see here. Mythology. Marion, I think that one's yours.
Yeah, that one's mine. So I put mythology because one of my favorite things to base my books off of, the urban fantasy, the paranormal, is bringing in those myths. So fae courts or selkies or you name it. That's kind of where my favorite stories come from, are all the mythology books.
Very cool. Do you have any books that are like a direct retelling, or do you just like kind of pull here and there?
I pull here and there. Prince of Air and Darkness is well, Darkest Court series is probably the best. Prince of Air and Darkness has Ballad of Tamlin, which is an old Scottish ballad. It has the Green Man and Cernunnos in the Marked Prince, and then the third book is like all my Nordic mythology, Celtic mythology with Lu and berserkers and all that good stuff. So that's probably the most myth heavy.
Gotcha. All right, next call. Found Family. I'm pretty sure that one is
Not
that
me.
one's L's. That one, no, that one's L's. Does anybody have Found Family in theirs, or are we gonna go past that one? Marion, what you got?
Found family is a big part. I like writing about families, but I really like writing about the family that's not related by blood. So it shows
Very
up a lot.
cool. Nice. All right, next word, quirky. That one is also L's, and I'm pretty sure all of us can discuss quirky. So let's go past that one and get to the next word because that one would take up way too much time. All right, next word is cat.
Because
Can
of
we get a visual?
Rowena is famous in her own right. And so everybody knows Rowena. She's the campground cat. She walks on a leash. And she also has her own series. And she was featured in Cincinnati Magazine and last week on the Cincinnati News because she's a famous, famous local cat. Only because of the books and my readers.
That's fabulous.
So
Absolutely
everybody
fabulous.
watching knows Rowena.
All right, I have a question asking me about what the third word was. The third word that we called out was funny, Funny. So if somebody has a question about that one was our third word. All righty, so let's see here. Next call is inclusive. That one was L's. Kevin, you mentioned one of the events that you went to has strove to be inclusive. How do you do inclusive in your stories?
Actually, I'm very part of the LGBTQ plus community, so a lot of my characters will, you know, there are many that are included. If it's an area such as like trans, where I don't have anything but socialized knowledge, there is like for October, Santarelli he does my sensitivity read for that.
Nice.
But I love, um, but it's a reflection of my world. Whereas
Right.
I know a lot of people don't have the same depth in the community that others do, but that's okay. They're writing about their community, and and I write a lot about who's around me, is my common. So I recognize
Fantastic.
it. And I definitely have had 2-star reviews over not exposing what someone's little wet bits were. Was very upset that I kept using they and them for a pronoun and would never disclose, as they put it. And I'm like, if they wrote
That's
it better,
okay.
if they had written it better, it would have been a blurb on my website. They just were lousy at writing anyway.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm sure that it's very much appreciated. The attention to detail. All right. Next word is, we have a bingo. DeLorean says we have a bingo. That was
Ooh.
quick. I was only 10 minutes in. What, man? Okay, so we have a bingo. Let's see here. I'm looking on the chat and I didn't see anybody say it in the chat, but DeLorean says we have one. So
Hey.
if you are the one that has a bingo, somebody put your number, what your bingo card number was, because I can check it and declare you the winner of round one. I'm
I
looking,
see
I'm
the
watching.
name. And the name is Tammy.
I need to know what number card Tammy has. I'm wondering why my thing, I have all comments. I should be getting everybody's comments, and I'm not.
Well,
Well, that's rude.
it is Facebook.
We have had a little problems.
I know. We've already determined Facebook doesn't care for me very much this
And
evening.
it looks like Tammy's saying 004 is her card number.
Okay. So thank y'all for telling me, because apparently it's just not flat out not going to show me. All right. So let's see here. We want to check card number 004. 004. View card. They do have a bingo. Nicely done. Okay, so whoever that was, card 004, do me a favor, send me a DM, and I will find out which ebook you would like from one of our 3 featured authors that are participating this evening, and we will get you a book.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have
That's amazing.
004, if you have that card, Tammy. Okay, so Tammy, just message me. Let me know that you were the winner from card number 1, and we will get your book choice and make sure you get your ebook. Okay, so we have plenty of time to do card number 2 now. So DeLorean, if you can find out in the chat who wants card number 2, if you'll send out card number 2, I'm going to chat with our lovely guests for a minute while you get everybody card number 2. All right, so I'm going to close this out. I'm going to pull up card number 2. And then there we go. And okay, so while we're waiting on that, I'm going to ask y'all a couple more about some of the other words that you had on your card number 1 that we didn't get to. So, Tanya, on card number 1, we also had Love's Community. So what about you demonstrates that?
So in obviously cozy mysteries are set in small towns, and so in my all of my series, they're all set with small town communities. It doesn't have to be family and communities. It could be best friends. It could be found families a lot of times in our small communities. And so I make sure that the community, even the setting of my stories, are their own characters, not just the characters. So I always try to make the setting part of the community as well. And so that's a really big part of my books.
Very cool. All right, so let's see here. Marion, we also had ravens on card 1. Where does that fall into your stories?
Ravens are my favorite animal, and then I try to sneak them into whatever books I'm writing, whether it's just like a quick mention of them flying through or a character who can turn into ravens. So I just like to acknowledge them.
That's cool. Have you ever gotten one? I see people talk about, is it ravens or crows that bring presents? I think it's crows. Maybe it's crows. Where
They
were
both
like,
can. Yeah.
if you leave out like food for them or whatever, then they'll bring you like little shiny things that they find as a thank you or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. And we had a lot of ravens around our house in Alaska. So they're fascinating, and they're family based, and they're just coolest bird ever.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay. Kevin, we had Daytona on card 1. Where does Daytona fall into your stories?
Okay, last time I was in Daytona, I happened to be at this little convention over on the beach. And whenever I do any can't imagine which one. So anyway, was having a blast, but I still wanted to I scout the neighborhood just looking for weirdness that I can put in my books. I love being able to actually walk on property and look. So there is a very cute little drive-in church down the street. I don't know if you know. It's a church.
I did not know.
Right along there, right along the strip. And you go down a little south. And there's a huge lot. And there is a building on there where the preachers, reverends, speak from pulpits that are just the second floor balcony. And everyone's on their phones in their cars.
Interesting.
In Daytona. So, of course, I had to have
no idea.
I had to have a cryptid throw one of the reverends off the balcony. Sorry. Um, that is DRC5, which is waiting for my editor. But yes, because I was driving around, I'm like, okay, this is just people aren't going to believe me, and then they're going to Google it, and they're going to find there actually is a drive-in church
Right.
in Daytona Beach. So,
Wow.
like, just happened to be there. Thought I'd go ahead and grab it, and it's now in book 5.
Holy moly.
Kevin, we're not too
Yeah.
far off. I made a preacher a killer once in mine. So he had to get sent off to prison.
Y'all might need to do a crossover. That might be fun. That might be fun. All right, so let's see here. Let's do one more while DeLorean is finishing up getting everybody their cards. Let's see here. Tanya, Camper.
Yeah, well,
I
I
think
just
we
say, well, one
probably
of my most popular series is a camper series, and it's because
Mhm.
I grew up with my parents traveling around in a camper, and we loved it, and I still love it. And I raised 4 boys, and we went all camping. You know, they're all adults now; they're all 25 to 30, and so it's just always been part of our life. And like I said, I work in my camper. I call it the shamper, the she camper, and I ride in
Mhm.
there, and I just like being in the middle of the woods. It's where I live now, in the middle of 145 acres. And I just like being in nature, period. So that's how
Your
we travel.
property is beautiful.
Thank
Your
you.
property is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. But yeah, it's so creative. I'd rather live amongst these critters than any other critters in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your little coffee walks when you just walk out in the morning and just like see what there is to see.
Yeah, thank you. I know last night I went live because there was a rainbow, and because it had rained here and we kind of have, the view of the river. And I was like, oh, look at this rainbow because it was so pretty. And then all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whoa. And then I pan down and it's a buck and a doe and then the baby fawn. And then a few minutes later, I went off and I had my skunk and the 3 raccoons and the possum were all over there eating too. We're just a
Good
community.
night.
We're a community up here. I'd rather be with
That's
all my
cool.
critters.
There you go. Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, it was
I missed
fun.
that one.
Yeah, it was
All right.
beautiful.
I'm pretty sure just about everybody's getting their cards. Okay, so let's do one more for Marion up here. Let me make sure you got all yours. Nope, sheep was on card 1. Where does sheep fall into your world?
I love my sheep. I've got a flock. We've got Icelandic sheep. So we just had lambing season in April and it was very exhausting. It was our first lambing season we've ever had, but they're out in the field right now. I'll be bringing them in here around 9 o'clock. So they just make me happy.
Well, there you
Oh,
go. Well,
oh,
now see, now you and Tanya have to have a crossover. So basically, I'm seeing an anthology happen here.
there you
Is what I'm feeling. All right. I'm pretty sure DeLorean says this. She's pretty sure everyone has cards. Okay, so let's get started on round 2. Let me pull up my little call generator thing here. All righty. Let me squish this in so I can still see y'all's lovely faces. All right, start game. And first word, brotherhood. Who's
Oh,
got, let me turn this over. Okay.
that one's
Was
one
that
of
yours?
mine.
All righty.
Yeah, and so I I am from a family of all girls, and so the concept of brotherhood is something that I've always really liked. My parents were English teachers, and so we read a lot of books with it. So I like playing with the idea of the blood relation versus not blood relation and how that ties into the relationships that they've got. So lots of brothers in my books.
Cool. All right. Next word, small town.
me.
There you go.
Again, I
That
think
was
I already
that.
said this once. I make sure all of my stories are just set small towns because there's nothing better than having a nosy gossip and a good session of nosy neighbors in a small town that make it just charming and great to shank people.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. You never know. They look like real innocent, real cozy, real, nice and gentle little places, but you never know what's happening behind somebody's building somewhere.
Oh, As a matter of fact, one of our commenters on here, one of our friends tonight is Ashley, and Ashley was the I guess she's coming to the convention this year, and so she's already been in the group. But the mail carrier series that my cat is a part of, Ashley was big in helping me create that because she is a mail clerk, and so it's all set in a small town. And so I always like, Ashley, the mail carriers, they know a lot about people. They can tell a lot about you by your mail. So I used her to create my small town for that series.
That's hilarious. Fantastic. Good job, Ashley.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, coffee.
Oh, that's me. Again, you said I liked my coffee morning. Every morning I do a coffee shot because I just love my life. I just love where I live. It's just inspiring. And I get up at 5 o'clock and I see the sunrise, just so thankful for it. And so I feel like I should share that. Although it's not about my books or anything, I want to share that with my readers. And so, like you said, every morning I get up, and if I don't post it, I get lots of questions and messages. So I just post it because I don't want to upset nobody's apple cart in the morning.
There you go. There you go. All right, next one. Oh, more coffee. Okay, we're not going to do it twice. We had two authors. Elle, who was not able to join us this evening, also had coffee on her list. So you can mark off coffee and more coffee if you have both of those. Well, everybody has it, but wherever you have them, mark both of those off your list. I'm not going to make Tanya talk more about coffee.
No.
All righty, next word, atmospheric.
Oh.
That one is also L's. Does anybody have anything atmospheric in their story, or should we just move on to the next? Let's go on to the next word. Okay, so atmospheric, go ahead and check it off wherever you have it on your card. And we're going to move to mystery.
Oh, that's me. You're pulling out all
I
mine.
didn't pull nothing. It's the website. It's all completely random. I just hit the button.
Because I write mystery and it's fun, and every one of my books have mystery in them, and I don't try hard for you to try to solve it. I just try to take you along for the ride to see how we got there.
Right. And it's fun, by the way. All right. Next up, Pacific Northwest. Marion, I think, is that one yours? No? Is that L's too? No. Oh, it is L's. Okay. So we're gonna skip that one too. Mark it off wherever it is on your card. Give everybody a second to mark that one off, and then we're gonna go to the next. Fanfic.
Oh, that one is mine.
Okay.
Okay. So fanfic is where I started writing when I was like a really little kid. It was these horrible Star Wars Extreme Ghostbusters fanfics. And then over time, started writing my own stories. But every time I get really stuck, I go back because I love using it as a sandbox.
There you go. That's cool. Do you ever go back and like wish you could take part of those stories and like rearrange them and put them into something new?
Yeah, I do.
Or do they just kind of live there?
Yeah, I like testing ideas out in it, seeing if I can figure out how to write them better.
There you go. All right, next up, Twisted.
Mine again.
That one was yours too.
Yeah. So kind of going along with that, just finding things and writing them on a slant. So it's like, if you write vampires, what if the vampires are in a mafia? Or if you write about the fairy courts, what if the Sealy court isn't the good court? So writing things that are a little twisted, a little bit on a slant. That's one of the things I like doing.
There you go. All right. Next up, there are a couple of comments I'm seeing that we will get back to. DeLorean, I just want you to know that I am seeing those comments, but both of those things mentioned are words that are included. So hopefully we'll hit on them. If not, we'll hit them after the game's over. So if you're leaving comments, continue to do that. We do definitely want to hit on all of your topics, but I don't want to get ahead of where we might pull a word from. So let's see, next word is music with a question mark. That's one I put in there. So does anybody have any particular music that you like to write to, or do you prefer to write in silence or with, just ambient background noise or whatever? Does anybody like to write with music? And if so, what kind of music do you like to write with?
When I
Anybody?
edit, when I edit, I love a lot of different jam bands. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure why, but there's a lot of instrumental in them. If I do have music on, there is a couple sources. One, I love a lot of the game instrumentals. So like Command and Conquer or any
Mm-hmm.
and everything like this, depending on the mood of what I'm writing. There's also a theme music page for D&D where you can
Mm-hmm.
queue up all of these, like the background music of a bar where there's light talking and this kind of stuff. There's
Right.
things that are very specific for I want to feel a very thing, but I have to be in the mood for doing that. Sometimes I get so lost in the writing that whatever is playing in the background morphs into Gregorian chants or something, and I'm like, I'm not sure how we got there, but that's okay. But
Gotcha.
you know how Spotify does. It's like I start with Janis Joplin, and suddenly I'm in Jesus Christ Superstar, and
Right.
and I'm not sure where we got there, and I wish I had paid attention to the journey.
Very cool. Anybody else write with music or no?
Yeah. I've got a playlist for every book that I write. And so there's instrumental playlists and then there's also like the actual lyric playlist. So it just kind of depends on what I'm working on.
Cool. Miss Tanya, do you use music or you like it quiet?
Yep, quiet.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it looks like we have another bingo. Miss Tina has bingo and she's got card 3. So let's take a quick peek here at card number 3. Let's view the card. And she has a bingo.
Wow,
All
we got to
right.
do both of them.
I know, right? So that's okay. We still got about 10 minutes, so we're going to hit on some of these other things people are asking about. Tina, message me and let me know which book by which one of our featured authors participating tonight you would like, and I will make sure you get that book. So I'm going to go ahead and close this bingo out. I did not prepare a third bingo card. I don't think we could have gotten through another one, so that's fine. But we do have some words that we didn't touch on yet. 2 of them that were asked about specifically in comments so far. One of them says, we want to hear more about Alaska.
Okay. I lived in Alaska for 10 years. We were on the Kenai Peninsula. So we were in Soldotna, right by the big salmon rivers. And so absolutely loved it. Would highly recommend people go up to visit if you can make it. But it was a pretty incredible experience. And I'm really glad I got to go and have that adventure.
That's cool. That's really cool. I think even in the summertime, it would be entirely too cold for me up there. I have very thin native Floridian blood. All right. Next thing, and Kevin, you're gonna have to help me. Is it isekai?
Isekai.
Isekai. Okay. Emily says, "Oh my God, I need to hear whoever put isekai. I love that genre."
All
So
right.
help
I
us
had
out.
I had no idea that my son loves manga and anime, and I had no idea. And I was discussing the premise of one of my stories, which was the ancestors had been taken by the gods a long time ago to another planet, and Anji falls through the portal and ends up back on Earth. So I'm telling my son some of this, and he's like, "So you wrote isekai?" And I'm like, okay. And then I started to look into it, and yes, very much so, because the actual portal itself causes a lot of damage, and she has to learn how to grow into her new life on Earth. So it was not like intentional, like I came out and said I'm going to write isekai. But yes, the Kimmer Chronicles is very much focused around the portal. A lot of Anji's arc is focused around that portal. Um, and it causes a lot of problems, but also some very cute little critters also come through the portal. That's my little woo. So I had a lot of fun with it, but yeah, it was a
So,
truly
so what are some of the defining characteristics of isekai? Because I am not familiar.
It's definitely a portal from either from Earth or to another, but it's a lot about the growth that goes on in that new environment. As you can imagine, that's always a great place to grow someone, right?
Mhm.
Put them in a new place. In fact, that's the best way to, you start off in one place and then you turn the world upside down for them, and they have to grow to, out of their comfort zone. Well, this is
Right.
in a very pure, real way. So
Gotcha.
I definitely stumbled into it, but it was definitely an enjoyment of mine. And now even on DRC, the realms have a certain isekai quality to it,
Mhm.
um, in that they're, but not. But there is a transference between the worlds, going on. Most of it's bad, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. So that's my new thing I learned today. We're all supposed to learn something new every day. So thank you for that, Kevin. I appreciate that. All right, so let's go back to some of these other words that we didn't get to. So let's see here. On card 2, we also had Tanya, bless your heart.
Yes, because they are Southern. And so, of course, bless your heart is what everybody knows. And I don't use that
Mm-hmm.
all the time, but I will sign books that say bless your heart just because it's always the good bless your heart. And I'm sorry,
Right.
Rowena always does this. I'm so sorry.
She is adorable and she is welcome to join any chat we ever have.
Oh, she always joins.
Bless her
Bless
heart.
her heart. Ah, you owe me a Diet Coke.
I will repay that debt in about 6 months.
I'll be there. Count on it.
All righty. All right. So Marion, let's see. What are one of the words we didn't get to from you? We did not get to tea.
Oh, have it with me. Black tea with cream and honey, just the way Nana taught me to make it. So
Oh,
that is
that's
like my
interesting.
go-to caffeine. Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Kevin, let's see what other word shadows we didn't get to.
Shadows actually is sort of a side jaunt. I also publish short stories.
Oh.
So, I like to write short stories. I just got into Romancing the Rainbow, which is a charity for um, a, a beautiful woman did a charity for dog shelters.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did this whole Kickstarter launch. They did all the stuff. They got it all the way through there. And she died at the end, just before it was actually finalized, before funded. So her wife took it over and made sure that like over 109 puppies were rescued from
Oh,
this
wow.
fundraiser. So when the call went out that the widow has a lot of costs, a lot of things going on, and she put all this effort to make sure that her her last, while she's going through all this, she's making sure that this, her wife's project finalizes. So anyway,
Right.
they called for it. So I got in that anthology. So just lately I posted it on my website. Um, but I love it. I like it. I like short stories. So Behind the Shadows is our horror anthology, and one of our more
Mm-hmm.
popular because people just love horror. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so right now, Behind the Shadows is the one that I'm working on. As far as there's a Kickstarter coming up through InkedPub, and I'll be doing all that focus, and that's really my strong focus. Even though right now I just ran out. One of my favorite things is sending out acceptance notices, right?
Oh,
And then
that's cool.
right behind it is the unfunnest thing, which is once the people accept, then I have to send out the rejections. So anyway, acceptances went out today as far as getting everyone involved
Mm-hmm.
for a anthology called Impulse, which is an explicit romance, and it's the first time we've done this. So Brenda Cawthorn and a friend of mine, Heather Norris, are co-editing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a really interesting read because it's very diverse. But yeah, Shadows was just sort of a link to like, oh, I never mentioned anything about the publishing I do, which is
Right.
we do Detective Sleuths and Nosy Neighbors for mystery. We do non-corporeal for spooky. We have a hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Jancy Patterson of Sanderson fame? She co-writes with Brandon Sanderson. Anyway,
I know who Brandon is, but I don't think I'm familiar with her.
she's a favorite of mine. She's just sweet, and she writes a lot of urban fantasy,
Cool.
and she writes some YA, both of which I like. Anyway, so she is the lead author for our Hidden Villains, whichever year we have, like Jody Lanai or Kevin J. Anderson, David Farland, someone to do a lead author. So yeah, Shadows was my
Nice.
lead into my fun publishing stuff that I get to do.
Excellent. We did have a question. Somebody wants to know which book it was that you were talking about that was the Isekai series. So which books were those?
Kimmer Chronicles. It's a 6-book series. Obviously, I have already spoiled it by saying there's a lot of involvement around the portal. But each one of the books, deals with a different element.
Gotcha.
Eventually comes into a situation where now we have to deal with the big elephant in the room that's been causing all the problems. Uh,
Gotcha.
that's Kimmer Chronicles, and I really love Anji because she's spunky and she stabs things first. And she eventually learns not to just stab everything first. And whatever you do, don't kill the wildling, or we'll start a clan war. And oops, things happen. So yes, I get
Oops,
to.
things happen. Cool. All right, we've got just a little bit more time. We'll do one more from Marion and one more from Tanya. So, Marion, what is layers about?
Um, Basically nothing is what it seems in my books. I really like to throw in as many
Hmm.
layers as I can. One of my favorite movies is, it sounds really weird, but Inception is actually like the movie
Hmm.
that I watch when I want to relax. So my husband gets driven nuts by it, but I love anything that has all those different layers that I can work through and tie into. I love those kind of books and games and movies. So
Cool. And Tanya, your last one is actually the one you already know I'm most interested in because your last one is planner.
Well, I'm gonna have
Well,
to move Rowena because Rowena likes to sit on the planner. That's where she's been sitting. So yes, I mean I love my happy planner, and I've used a happy planner for I don't know, years. And when I was a teacher, I used a happy planner. I'm talking 20 years ago. And so it has everything in it from all of my book plotting to all of my systems that I use for all my marketing, for everything that my current working process, all my scheduling for my social media, all my book sales, and when they happen throughout the year, because I plan yearly, and
mhm.
all of everything, my whole life, it goes everywhere with me. And so I even have the big discs.
Hmm. I just started June. This month has been a year I've been doing the planner stuff. So I am newly obsessed with this whole community. And I have what's called a Franken planner where I've taken 3 different planners, 3 different layouts, and taken bits from them and put them all together in one to make it work for the way I want it to. And I felt
Yes.
very accomplished when I figured that out, quite frankly.
But I
So
love it.
so
And I had Franken planned several planners before. And I kind of do that with this one. So it's a happy planner plus also different things that I find online. I'll download those and use them.
mhm.
But it's definitely my life thing. And then the creativity is sometimes I put in stickers and sometimes I don't. But mostly that's where my creative process comes in. So I will use
Mhm.
stickers. And then this year they came out with a camping theme one. So of course I had to get that.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so a couple more comments over here. Kathy says that she appreciates your bless your heart. She says she's from a small town, so she can relate to that. And then Sienna loves the passion planner. So I've seen lots of people talking about passion planners. And it's just a different variety of planner. So not one that I have used, but I know a lot of people that do use those. So everybody, and that's the thing, as many different people as there are, that's how many different kinds of planners there appear to be. So you can find
Several.
something that's going to work for you.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got about I don't know, let's go a couple minutes over because we did start late, but I do want everyone to get a chance to let people know what you are currently working on, where online people can find information about you. So whether it be social media or your website or whatever, and also what your next release will be that people can look forward to sometime between now and the convention. So Kevin, why don't we start with you and then we'll go to Marion and we'll finish up with Tanya.
All right. I'm working on a hodgepodge right now. I hate to say it. I just finished DRC 5. I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting for DRC 4 um, to come out, which is going to be in New Orleans. um,
Okay.
because it's about vampires. So
Mhm.
4 and 5 will be out easily by February, I'm sure. Um,
Okay.
I'm working on a collab, which
Mhm.
I've never done before, with a friend of mine that is on the humorous detective side, set in 1968, St. Louis. Um,
Cool.
I want to see how that goes. It's something
Mhm.
rather new for me. I'm 2 books into a YA shifter dystopian romance, and I'm actually working with the um, one of your guests, Emily. My God, I can't remember my instructor's
Colon.
name. Yes. She does a workshop, and I was like, yeah, let's take this because I want to
Fun.
polish my YA skills. It's a different
Mhm.
focus, and so I'm learning anyway. So I was like, oh, so you're going to be there too? Cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
so that's that. I'm also working on a middle grade, which so right now I'm working the middle grade while I'm doing the collab. So like we'll do a chapter, couple of chapters, and we'll revise.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, I'm doing the middle grade, which I don't know why, but just I
Why
do this,
not?
but I'm so far ahead on DRC that I was like, I got plenty of space to do. I mean, I'll write like sci-fis or things that I never publish just because they
Mhm.
don't fit in with the urban fantasy vibe. But I
Mhm.
think YA dystopian romance, shifter romance, that'll fit right in.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure.
so I just got to get a cryptid in my middle grade. Maybe that won't happen. That's what I'm
So
up to.
where can people find you online if they're looking for more information?
Facebook is definitely where I post a lot of my, here's where I'm going. This is where I'm going to be.
Mhm.
I also share over to Instagram as well. And that's under Kevin A. Davis. Um, and, obviously Amazon, if you're looking for my books, it's a good place. Kevin A. Davis, I put almost everything there except for some of the anthologies. Um,
Mhm.
Kevin Arthur Davis, which happens to be where the A comes from, .com if you want to do the website. But Kevin A. Davis is easy enough to find me if you search it.
All right, Marianne, how about you? What have you got going on and where can people find information about you?
Oh gosh. Easiest place to find information about me is probably Facebook or Instagram. I use those pretty commonly, kind of off of Twitter at this point, and I do have a
Mhm.
dumpster fire of a Tumblr if you can find me over there. But it's all there. MarianAudreyGrant.com is the website, and I do have
Mhm.
links to that through the other social media sites. In terms of projects, I got kind of three going. I'm coming out of like a 2 year period of burnout. And so right now I'm just kind of playing around. I don't have anything under contract, which is kind of nice. So I just finished Under His Name, which was a collaborative series that I did with several other really incredible writers. And so it's like accidental spy story. So basically I have a high school
That's
teacher
fun.
whose twin is a spy and messed up a mission. So he's getting blackmailed into finishing up the mission to help the other agent. And it takes
Oh
place in
no.
Seattle and there's shenanigans and it was a really nice relaxing thing to start on. So the other three projects that I'm kind of rotating between are I have like a Hallmarky Christmas novel that I'm working on and no idea when that's gonna be finished, but working on that one. And then the other two that I've got going, there's one which is kind of urban fantasy. It's got romantic elements, but it isn't a true romance. And so
Mhm.
it's kind of like a heist story mixed with superhero vibes. So special spec ops team gets specialized
Cool.
powers and go on missions together. And then the other one that I'm working
Nice.
on, I'm having a lot of fun with is urban fantasy kind of parallel universe. And it's
Mhm.
got I like to irreverently call him the seventh squared son, but he's the seventh son of a seventh son from Appalachia. And he works for a federal agency where in our world, all magic is known quantity. And we've got different agencies that are working with it. And so he can heal people and he accidentally heals a guy from the 1940s who was killed and now is stuck. So it's kind of Odd Couple meets Constantine, I guess, is the closest thing I can come up with to it. So I'm having a lot of fun with that, with the research and just writing two guys who are at each other's throats and are having a lot of fun doing detective work.
That's cool. Miss Tanya?
Well, she's going to have to come here if she wants to see Appalachia, I think you called it, but it's Appalachia if you want to live around here. Come on down. I do write a lot about that since it is local to me. But I have got my plate full with the next 6 months of obviously writing my cozy mysteries. I've also started a series that I have coined as hard boiled cozy mystery. It's not a there's 2 books in the series now, and so I've been trying to get everybody to get that to be a new genre. And so people are like, "Oh, did you make this up?" I'm like, "Totally, but let's get it going." And so it's like Sweet Home Alabama against Justified if they had a baby, and because she's a bad girl and she's a CI, so she's not my normal sleuth. So that's really, really fun. And also, I am taking some of Hallmark's movies that are movies and mysteries for them that have not been books, and I'm turning their scripts into books under my Tanya Kappas Books imprint. So I'm
That's
busy.
fun.
Yeah, I'm busy with that, and just keep on writing these cozies. And so you can find me all over. I have a Patreon that's very thriving, and
Hmm.
up on my Patreons here. And then I have I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, and I'm not on the TikToks that much. But I have that, but I'm not really there. And but you can pretty much find me anywhere. Just holler.
Very cool.
I hear you.
Just holler. Rowena will come running.
She will.
All right, my lovelies. I think that's going to do it for us. All of you who played along with us this evening, thank you for coming and hanging out um and holding on through all of our technical difficulties. We had a whole lot of things happen that never happened before tonight, so it was a lot all at once, and I appreciate y'all sticking with us. Congratulations to our 2 winners. Um, Yay! So DeLorean says that there's a lot of people saying thank you and that they had a good time. So I am very glad to hear that. Thank you to our authors who joined us this evening. And we hope that we see all of y'all for Coastal Magic, our 13th annual, which is so weird for me to say. Like, it just doesn't even sound like it's a right thing in my head. I mean, I'm glad it is, but it just doesn't even sound right. But yeah, so 13th annual Coastal Magic's happening in Daytona in February. If you have not checked us out yet, if you came to play along this evening but aren't quite familiar with what we're doing as a whole, then you can check out coastalmagicconvention.com and see what we're all about. If you have not joined our reading challenge and checked out books from each of our featured authors here, you should definitely be doing that. There are links on the website and in our social media for the reading challenge. So shout out to all our reading challenge peeps. And that's going to do it for us. So thank you very much. And y'all have a good rest of your evening. And we'll see you next month for our next CMCChat. Good night, all.
Bye.